I don't care who you are, you cannot expect somebody to be engaged emotionally and socially all day, every day, and not have a meltdown. Like, we can't do that to our kids. We can't do that to ourselves. Hey guys, so I'm excited to be teaming up again with my friend Michelle from A Common Life, and today we are going to talk about balance between motherhood, homeschooling, all of that. I hope that this is more like a chat with your girlfriends versus a how-to. If you are weary and you feel like you're not balancing things well and you feel like you're switching from this to this to this all the time, don't worry, you're not alone. I think that more of us feel that way than we like to tell ourselves. Before I get into the video, I want to tell you about today's video sponsor, one that I'm really excited about working with, so let's get right to that. Today's video is sponsored by Reading Eggs, and they are offering all of you a 4-week free trial, no credit card required, so the link for that is in the description box below. If you're not familiar with Reading Eggs, it is a multi-award-winning early learning resource and app that was developed by expert educators with over 30 years of experience. Reading Eggs helps children become fluent and proficient readers, and it's tailored to each child's need. It's designed to be easy to follow, self-paced, and highly engaging for children, get this, between the ages of 2 to 13. 2 to 13. All 4 of my kids have enjoyed this app thoroughly, but at their own level. Incorporating Reading Eggs at home means children will gain confidence where they feel safe, laying the building blocks for long-term reading and academic success. I had my younger kids start right at the beginning lessons for their age, and they're having a complete blast. They feel really independent, they can easily navigate their lessons, and they love playing the games. I hear tons of giggling when they complete tasks and earn their prizes. I had my older kids start by taking the placement test, and their lessons are slightly more challenging while still being really fun and engaging. They all ask when it's their turn to use the app, so I'm so excited to have a resource that I'm totally comfortable allowing all of my kids to use, because I really enjoy knowing that my kids are filling in any gaps that I may not see as their sole educator. That's something that's important to me, because as their sole educator, I'm sure there are things that I'm overlooking or totally missing. So this being developed by teachers and leaders with 30 years of experience in education makes me feel very confident that all gaps are being filled in. This has been really helpful. We can take our tablet wherever there's Wi-Fi, and I know that we're spending our time well, even if I'm not in the position at that moment to be teaching a lesson. So thank you so much, Reading Eggs, for sponsoring today's video and for allowing me to balance my schedule by offering a great resource for families to use at home, at play, or just because. So first things first, I think that the biggest lie we tell ourselves is that someone else or some other way would be easier. And I think that all moms have it hard, whether you're a work-at-home mom or a working mom or a stay-at-home mom or a homeschooling mom or whatever. I know that we all would like to believe that the grass is greener on the other side. I think that maybe we don't admit that to ourselves, that that's kind of like the weighing factor in us being unhappy or us feeling burdened, is that we think that there's an easier way, or we think we've taken on some kind of role that we wish we wouldn't have. And I think once we realize that we all have a lot on our plates, whether we are actually doing a million things or whether we are staying at home every single day and not even leaving the house, we all have so much on our plates. And I think that as soon as we can let that expectation go, that there's an easier way or a better way, we will be much more content, and therefore be able to pursue our kids more and just enjoy our time with them, no matter how difficult it is. So first things first, I think that is the biggest factor that comes into our balancing our lives as moms and home educators, is just realizing that it's hard. It's hard this way, it's hard that way, it would be hard that way as well. And as soon as we just let that go, I think that our lives will be much more enjoyable. So when I think about balancing my day-to-day as a mom and a teacher at the same time, I do get a little sad sometimes, because I think that I do think like if my kids went to school, I wouldn't know every single thing they did wrong that day. I would probably seem more approachable to my kids. I know that that's something I struggle with, is I don't think my kids really feel like I'm super approachable because I struggle with like switching gears a little bit. I do purposely have different discipline in our homeschool than I do after school hours, just because I don't think it's fair to bring a lot of emotions into our homeschool unless they're being outright defiant. I think that, you know, there's a difference in their behaviors when they're doing schoolwork than there is when, you know, we're just hanging out as a family, because a lot of times that's rooted in frustration or insecurity as far as like the lessons that we're actually doing. And so I don't think it's fair to punish the same way. That being said, I pretty much have the same mom voice, the same like, I don't know. I think I'm unapproachable. My kids might not agree, but I just feel like I'm always like, I run a tight ship. And so I think that, you know, they don't know that when school's done, I'm like totally more willing to get on the floor and play than I would be during the school day. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's just kind of par for the course with homeschooling, but I do think that if my kids went to school or they had a different teacher, that yeah, I wouldn't have known everything they did that day. They wouldn't know that I knew, and there wouldn't be that, I don't know, like mom's always around, mom always knows what you've done wrong, that shame-based kind of a thing. Even though I really try not to have like a shame-based perspective in our home, just because I don't want them to think that way. I did write some notes down here. Oh, okay, so then another thing with that mom and teacher balance that I struggle with is telling my husband everything. Again, like I wouldn't know everything. He wouldn't also know everything, every little altercation. If, you know, I remember being in elementary school and like, you know, our teacher would have like the green, the yellow, and the red cards that they would pull based on your behavior. And I was like, I'm still the same person. I was like super like goody two-shoes personality. And one day somebody accidentally pulled my card instead of the person next to me, and all day long I thought my mom was gonna find out that like I was my mom was not a scary mom, but I was just like, oh, I got on yellow today and I'm gonna have to tell. She never knew, and it was obviously an accident, but like my kids know, I know every time that they're like on yellow if we had a system like that in our house. And so therefore I'm constantly telling my husband everything that's going on. He calls me on my lunch break, isn't that funny? He calls me on his lunch break and, you know, how's school going? And usually at lunchtime, I'm like, it's going horrible. This is every single thing that everyone's doing wrong. That's not fair. That's not fair to him. That's not fair to them. That's not even fair to myself, because what lens am I looking at our life through at that point? So there is just like, there's that balance of having to say like, school isn't everything, like our family is everything. And so just trying to balance that out. And another thing that kind of seeps in and blurs the line between my mom and teacher time is just that a lot of times I'm not prepared for the school day. And that means that I'm dismissive in the evening because I know I've got to get stuff done. I know I've got to prepare things, and I just don't. I mean, I do love homeschooling, and I do try to make homeschooling more about the atmosphere of our home than about the actual school hours, but I fear, and again, I really doubt my kids see this. I think this is more insecurity on my part, but I fear that that it's too much pressure here at our house just because I'm unprepared sometimes. So it really, like, me being disciplined and getting things done at appropriate times causes less tension as far as my relationship goes with my kids. Again, it really always seems to boil down to me, how prepared I am, how ready I am. My kids are always like ready to roll, and they're just gonna go based on like however I'm steering the ship. And so a lot of times if days aren't going great, it's because I wasn't prepared, or it's because my attitude stinks for some reason. And so I'm just trying to maintain some kind of a balance, giving myself grace, which is so hard for me to do, although I'm so willing to do it for my kids. So I just wish I could really, get a grip on that a little bit for myself, just so that I would enjoy the whole experience a little bit more. And that's just me being real, because you guys know I love homeschooling. I'm gonna say that a million times just as like a disclaimer, like I don't hate homeschooling, even though I'm sounding super negative, but you know, it's just these internal things we struggle with, and that's one of them for me. It's just me thinking that I'm like making my kids hate education, but it's probably the opposite again, like I said. Another factor as far as balance in our home for me is having alone time and having together time. We are together all the time, like literally almost all of the time. But every single day, my kids have quiet time. I'll put a link up here if you guys are interested. That quiet time is as much for them as it is for me. It is, I know that like maybe another generation would think that that's selfish, like, you know, self-care time, because that wasn't something that was really talked about 30 years ago. But I think my kids need to learn how to kind of get grounded in the middle of the day, have some alone time, play silently, not be so overstimulated all the time, figure out what their body needs. Do they need to rest? Do they need to run around in their room? Like whatever, and just not have that responsibility of having to engage with somebody all the time because you're always around your siblings. And so that's important for me to give them, to have that downtime. It always gives us another boost of energy to then be together again for the rest of the day. But it's also important for me to give myself that time. And I have had to really learn the hard way over the years to respect that time for myself. One, because it definitely makes me a more engaged mom when they come out of their rooms and we're all together again. But then also because it gives me more of a sense of satisfaction with just, you know, my role as a mother. When I take that hour off, I'm so tempted to do the dishes, and sometimes I have to, like sometimes I really need to get things done during that hour, but I really, really try to just enjoy that hour, unwind, make some tea. I totally had a cupcake today during the quiet time. Shh, don't tell my kids, because there were 6 and now there's 5 and I don't know what's gonna happen because now there's not enough for everyone, but oh well. Needed that cupcake today. Just have some downtime, read a book, not some kind of like homeschooling book or self-help book, but just like a book, and just enjoy that hour. That is really important. It's like one of the most important parts of balance in our homeschool is for me to have that time, for them to have that time, because we are together all the time. And I don't care who you are, you cannot expect somebody to be engaged emotionally and socially all day, every day, and not have a meltdown. Like we can't do that to our kids. We can't do that to ourselves. Everybody has got to have some reset time, no matter when or how that looks in your home, but that's how it looks for us. And then we have designated together time, because again, like I think that when we're kind of running on E, we think that everyone's having a horrible experience. Probably not. Again, everybody's not drowning as much as you think they are. But having certain points set on our schedule, like Friday nights, we always have pizza movie night. And Sunday evenings, we generally have dessert and we play a board game or have some kind of family time, a bike ride at the pool. It's not always been a board game lately because we have a 2-year-old. It's not always fun. But yeah, we're always doing some kind of a family activity on a Sunday night. So having those markers in our schedule does let me off the hook a little bit if it's like a random Tuesday and I'm like, we didn't do anything fun today. It's like, okay, well, Friday night, we just did this, or we just did this on Sunday night. And so that does help with the balance, because again, when you are together all the time, you can equally ignore having positive experiences just because you are together all the time as well. So there's another way to balance that out, is to make sure that it's there on the schedule, make sure it's happening so you don't completely overlook it, but also so you aren't like guilt-ridden thinking that nobody's having a good time. I think that a really important part of balance, of course, and it's probably something that we all struggle with, is when to say yes and when to say no, and just really advocating for yourself and your family and why and when you say no, and then committing to your yes. If it's a yes, if you said yes, it's a yes. Just make it happen. Don't dread it, you know. So for example, my daughter is in a junior dance company, and that was a lot harder on our schedule last year than it is this year, but it's like I could have made everyone miserable by being like, oh, I gotta go to this, oh, we gotta go to that. But as soon as I kind of like got over it, and it's like that is part of our family schedule, that's a part of our daily life right now, and just started going, so much more enjoyable. So really like making your yeses like a firm yes. I think like it's more negotiable in our heads than we actually are realizing, and that's why we dread certain things and why things feel so off balance. So I would prefer, let's be real, I would prefer if my whole schedule was open all the time and I never had anything to commit to. I struggle when we have multiple things going on. We have violin on this day, we have you know, speech therapy on this day, dance on these days, sports on these days, blah, blah, blah. I fight those things in my schedule so badly because I just want like nothing. I want nothing on the schedule. As soon as I organize our schedule, figure out what's going on, I know like this day and this day, we don't have anything. I can totally enjoy those days. The other days, I need to get those things done. I need to show up. I need to stop fighting it. And again, like finding that balance in your schedule and in your own like personal self. Like, okay, Abby, you're doing this, you gotta do it, be committed to it, get through it, get over it. Another important thing for us was going year round, and I actually just did a video on this. I'm so excited about that video. I just feel like that was such a real candid video for me, and I hope it's helpful to you guys, but it's just going year round. Going year round for us means that we have more flexibility to take weeks off when I just feel like I need to pursue my kids, and that has made a world of a difference in my life as a homeschool mom and mom. Being able to take weeks off because I just see that my relationship with a kid is struggling, even if it doesn't feel like it is. I can just see like, when was the last time that I really let that kid know that I really loved them? Or when was the last time that like my kids saw me have fun? And so going year round has helped me so much with having just certain weeks to just enjoy my kids. And then the last thing is not a way to make you feel guilty, but I do ask myself often, am I pursuing my kids or am I dismissing my kids? Bottom line, you're either doing one or the other. And it might not be harsh. For me, that is a big deal. I'm super dismissive because I'm really focused type of personality. And so I think that, you know, some people have memories of their parents yelling, and some people have memories of certain, I don't know, just not traumatic memories, but you think of like a parenting style. Mine is totally being dismissive, and I hate that so much because it's so hard to identify. I will go, you know, days and days at a time where my kids probably hear, you know, or not right now, or I'm sorry, I can't right now, or go tell daddy. And that can be like just as sharp and cutting as yelling, raising your voice. So that is really an area I struggle with. And so because of that, I do ask myself often, am I pursuing my kids? Did I take the time to pursue my kids today? And so that's really important for me to try to find a balance. Like, at the same time, they do need to, yeah, I have stuff to get done. My older two especially are at an age where they should definitely understand, like, to respect some certain points of my time. Like, I do ask for a 30-minute workout. If they wake up in the morning and I'm doing my workout, they're welcome to be here, but I'm not gonna stop that workout unless it's like an emergency. And then in the evenings, sometimes I have to get work done. If John's home, like, it's not a good time to interrupt. So they do need to learn those boundaries, not my little ones, that's not fair, but they need to learn those boundaries. At the same time, I need to respect those times, and if it's not in those specific times where I'm having, how about I just take a breath and then I'll try that again. If it's not one of those specific times, then it's not really fair for me to be dismissive. And so I can just enjoy that time with them, pursue them, and enjoy my experience with them as a mom, and not be so hyper-focused all the time. So that's it, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you feel seen. If you feel some of the ways that I just explained, I feel. If you don't, I hope you don't judge me for telling you about some of the ways I feel as far as like balancing being a parent and a homeschool mom. And again, like, just keep in mind, it's not, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Just enjoy where you're at in life, what you have to balance, and just figure out a way to make the most of it and just have a good time. Because like they say, what is it? The days are long, but the years are short. It's so true. And it just breaks my heart that I haven't allowed myself to fully enjoy this journey up until recently, but I really I really pray that the Lord would redeem that in my family, and I hope that if you need to hear these words, that it has helped you as well. Thank you again so much to Reading Eggs for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that, and if you're interested, all the info for that is in the description box below, and I will see you guys very soon. Again, be sure to check out Michelle's video if you didn't already. She's awesome, and I really can't wait to hear what she has to say about this. So bye guys, thanks Michelle.